Every franchise has to start somewhere, right? Just a couple locations. Obviously, we're looking very carefully at, the financial model has got to be really strong because you don't have a large sample size to look at. You have to have some true competitive advantages and uniques about the business. We're looking at that leadership team. That's very important to see, not only industry experience, but also franchise experience on that team. People that have been there, done that, supported successful franchisees in their background. So there's a little bit of art, a little bit of science to how we think about it. Candidly, this day and age, there's so much interest in franchising that good opportunities are selling incredibly fast in good markets. So we do find ourselves oftentimes working with these emerging brands, if you will. And a lot of people like emerging brands because you're one of the early movers, maybe you get a seat at the table, you get the better territory that hasn't been spoken for yet. We do work with quite a few of those.
How does a broke single mom fired from Denny's go on to become America's most sought after real estate investor? Well, that's why we have the most wonderful real estate podcast ever. Our motto for 26 is stack gold bricks in 26. I'm going to teach and share and bring you all kinds of great guests for season 8 in 2026. And we're going to learn how to stack gold bricks in 26. So you want money? We're going to get it. You want health and wisdom? We're going to get it. You want to learn everything there is to know about real estate investing? It's here. The most wonderful real estate podcast ever. Now on to the show. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the most wonderful real estate podcast ever. I'm your host, Dwanbenttwyford. I'm America's most sought after real estate investor, and I'm really excited to have you here with us today. I have a super great guest. We have to be extra nice to him today because I actually stood him up yesterday. So I'm feeling like shame and regret. So you guys got to give me extra watches and share this around and do some extra. Because poor John just waited for me yesterday. But you know what? We're real estate investors. We just have to roll with the flow. That's how it goes. If you're new to my show, my name is Dwan. I took the name Dwan and Wonderful and I made Dwanderful. So you are now a part of the Dwanderful universe. Like, subscribe, share, write reviews. If you want to wait till the end and make sure you can write a review, that's fine. You're going to love today's show. I'm available at all things Dwanderful, DWANDERFUL. Everywhere, social media, YouTube, anything, just type in Dwanderful. And on there, I make it really easy for you, just Dwanderful. So, with that, I have Jon. Oh, I should have asked you how to say. Is it Ostenson?
Yeah.
Okay. It sounds like it's spelled. I usually actually say the name first just to make sure I got it. So, Ostenson. And we're going to find out about Jon today. So, first of all, welcome to the show.
Hey, Dwan, excited to be here.
I'm really happy that you're here. And again, I still apologize for yesterday. I just left him hanging and
I've gotten stood up. I've been stood up before in my life. It's been a little while, but no, it's good. It keeps you humble. I like it.
I am such an on time, don't miss a beat person. I was racked with guilt last night. I was like, guys don't think I'm the biggest flake in the world. So thank you for giving me another chance. I'm happy that you're here. So basically with my guests, I'd like to just kind of throw you to the wolves. I just want you to tell us your name, how to find you on social media, and in one sentence, what you do. It sounds better coming from you than me reading some big, long scripted thing. And then we're going to just talk and get to know each other. I've got questions to ask you. And so we just want to know, we're Dwanderful, what's your deal?
Absolutely. Jon Ostenson, based here in Atlanta, Georgia. I've got a wife and 3 kids, very active here in the community. In short, what I do is what I call non-food franchising. So we'll unpack that. But yeah, to answer your question, come out and find us online, FranBridgeConsulting.com. Follow me on LinkedIn. I put a lot of content out there. FranBridgeConsulting.com would be your main spot. I wrote a book a few years ago called Non-Food Franchising. And, after many years in the corporate world, I had that desire to step into business ownership. Didn't know what it looked like so many out there. Didn't have that million, or in the case of Elon Musk, $1 trillion idea. Instead, really was fortunate to fall into franchising and realized that franchising is so much more than just fast food. And so, a long story short, became the president of a national franchise system. Then that springboarded me into buying franchises myself as a franchisee, and I've had a lot of partnerships over the years on that front. And I started my consulting firm about 7 years ago, FranBridgeConsulting.com, where we've helped hundreds of people step into business ownership all around the country, to helping them identify the top opportunities in their market across a variety of different industries, which I look forward to unpacking with you. It's been a great run. We've been an Inc. 5000 company several years in a row here, and it's just a testimony to the clients that we've been able to help.
So I love that when you said that, because now when I had written back to whoever books your podcast, I don't know if it's you personally or if you have someone that does that. I was like, oh, someone that does non-food franchising. Like that's something different. Because, I get emails like 20 a day. I want to be on your show, and everyone's like syndicated. I'm like, oh, like how many people can you have for that? Or everyone's just like, there's just so many of the same thing. So I was like, okay, non-food franchising. That is a good topic. That's an interesting topic. I've never had anybody on my show in the whole 8 years that does non-food franchising. So I thought, I want to talk to this guy and see what people can do. Because I am not opposed to franchising. I mean, I know when they were doing those ones, the We Buy Ugly Houses was a big, maybe it still is. I should know that. It was a huge franchise. I don't know since COVID if it's still huge, but for real estate investing, that was a huge nationwide franchise for real estate investing. I was like, well, good. It's good to see stuff out there.
Yeah, no, home investors and We Buy Ugly Homes are in business, hundreds of owners out there. But no, what I found, Dwan, over the years is when I say the F word, franchise, people think fast food. They think Subway, McDonald's, and what else? Yeah, they don't realize there's a world of opportunities out there. And we've got nothing against the food guys. I mean, some of the biggest food guys are good friends of mine. But my humble belief is there are opportunities out there that may require less operating hours, fewer hourly employees, less susceptible to consumer whims changing. Frozen yogurt was big till it wasn't, right? And here people are investing heavy CapEx oftentimes in those food businesses. And instead, they're gravitating towards a world of other types of opportunities in other industries, things that you definitely didn't have on your bingo card when I said franchise. And probably 90% of our clients end up going into an industry that was never even on their radar. So it's a lot of fun to expose people to what's out there.
Yeah, that's what I'm super excited to talk about, because I think people do automatically think food. I did. If you said, hey, I have a franchise, I'd be like, no, I'm good. Because I'm like, I don't want anything to do with food, running food, managing all those people. It's like, no, definitely not for me. But there's so many other things that are out there. You're right. So let's talk about that. So how did you personally start in franchising?
Yeah. It's been many years.
And then you're like, hey, I'm going to get more.
So the way I started, had spent many years in the corporate world and had a good run, had the golden handcuffs, kind of the stereotypical, had risen up, youngest vice president in the company at the time, big public company. And, we got put in touch with someone that said, hey, you really ought to check out this opportunity. They knew I was open to new opportunities. So anyway, long story short, had the opportunity to step in as president of Shelf Genie franchise system, large national franchise system that focuses on pull-out shelving. So shelving for kitchens and pantries, and about 100 franchisees across the country. And I stepped in and ran our home office team that supported all of these owners. And for me, that was a light bulb moment where I fell in love with the franchise model. I just saw how all these diverse backgrounds coming together under a shared system of support, and we're allowing them to become business owners in their local communities, and we were supporting them. And so now that was my entry into franchising. And shortly after that, started investing in franchises myself on the franchisee side. And oftentimes that's been through different partnerships, though I actually have one where I don't have any partners down in Delray, which is in your backyard, one of your two backyards. I've got a business down there, but by and large, I've gravitated
down there.
Yeah, a business called Foot Solutions down in Delray Marketplace.
Okay, Foot Solutions. Yeah. I love Delray, so I'm gonna go check it out next time. Say, hey, I know something.
Yeah, please do. We'll create some 3D printed inserts for you. Yeah. No, but outside of that, yeah, invested in different franchises, primarily on the property services side. I kind of like those non-trendy, non-sexy type businesses. But started my consulting practice about 7 years ago, just recognizing there's a need in the market, to help educate and help others identify. So the way that we worked on, it's very similar to a real estate broker. If you were going to buy a house, then you would use a broker, and that's the role that we play, where we simply get a referral fee from the brands on the back end, and none of that's passed on to our clients. So very similar to the real estate model.
I like it. So I know, just to ask like randomly, how many franchises do you have? That's probably like a loaded kind of type of a question. Let's just say someone like me. I came to you and I'm like, you know what? I don't want to work for corporate America. I want to do my own thing. I'm open-minded to anything really. But I don't even really care. I've got, I don't know, 50 grand. Is that even enough? Is that enough to even come and have a conversation with you?
Yeah. So from an investment standpoint, if we look at the franchise fee and the startup cost and several months of working capital, all built in, so you're all in investment range. If it's more of a retail style brick and mortar location business, you're probably more in the 300 to 700,000 ballpark in that range. But if it's a service-based business, which is about 2/3 of where our clients are getting into, where you don't have a physical location, think home services, in-home senior care, consulting businesses that can be run remotely. Your all-in investment oftentimes is more like 100,000 to 200,000, kind of in that ballpark. And Dwan, most people are not using all cash to fund it. So yeah, if you had 50,000, in a lot of cases, you could then use an SBA loan to complement that. Most people will go that path. Banks love, franchises, so those loans are pretty easy to come by. Some will use for retirement rollover through what's called the ROBS program and purchase the business with the retirement plan. Then you can pay yourself a salary. You have to set things up the right way, but that's another common path.
Nice. So I'm going to ask some questions, and I'm going to probably sound stupid asking some of these questions, but I really don't know. And I feel like this is what I would want to know if I was talking to you. So I've got a bunch of money in the bank. I don't really want to work, but I want to invest in something. I don't want to do syndication. I want to get a franchise. Are there franchises that you can buy and just be off? You don't have to own or operate. Can I buy something and let it run for me? And also on top of that question, how many locations does a business have to be able to be a franchise? Because if I'm going to buy a franchise, I'm going to put in 100 grand. I want to make sure it's not going to fall if there's COVID or housing crisis or something. I want to make sure it's going to be there. So that's kind of two questions.
Great question. So the first one, franchising does have a model that's very common out there, and probably half of our clients will go down this road. Half will do owner operator, where they're running the business, usually with the eye on eventually replacing themselves. But the other half will get into what franchises oftentimes term as semi-passive or semi-absentee or executive model. You'll hear this term. I prefer the term semi-involved. I think that's a better term. You're still going to be involved. Really, there's nothing that's truly passive, but there are a lot of models that can be pretty close to passive. What it comes down to, and I never want to sugarcoat it, you have to have a good operator running that day-to-day business, right? And if you do have a good operator and you set them up and incentivize them correctly, then that franchisor can carry a lot of the support wire for you and really be a resource for that day-to-day operator. However, if you don't have the right person, you'll lean in until you do. So I just, always want to make sure I'm careful how I say that. So that is a very common approach, and a lot of our clients will go that path. As far as vetting the franchisor, to your question on number of locations, we work with some franchises that have hundreds of locations. We work with some that have just a couple of locations. Every franchise has to start somewhere, right? Yeah. Now, those have just a couple locations. Obviously, we're looking very carefully at, the financial model has got to be really strong because you don't have a large sample size to look at. You have to have some true competitive advantages and uniques about the business. The franchisor, we're looking at that leadership team. That's very important to see, not only industry experience, but also, franchise experience on that team, people that have been there, done that, supported successful franchisees in their background. So there's a little bit of art, a little bit of science to how we think about it. I mean, candidly, this day and age, there's so much interest in franchising that good opportunities are selling incredibly fast in good markets. So we do find ourselves oftentimes working with these emerging brands, if you will. And a lot of people like emerging brands because you're one of the early movers, maybe you get a seat at the table, you get the better territory that hasn't been spoken for yet. Yeah. So we do work with quite a few of those.
Yeah, that's what I would want. I would want to make sure I got in early, I got a good territory, I got a good space, and be a founding member, or something like that. Because I'm a founding member in a couple of just different things I belong to. And it's oh yeah, I got in, when it was still good to get in on some things like that. So I like all of that. So talking about types of franchises, where on earth would a person start?
Well, certainly you can Google around, but if you do, you're going to see a lot of noise out there, and every company's putting the best foot forward. And even if you see a top 100 franchise list from a publication, Yeah, most of those companies are actually paying to be on that list. So it's a PR move. So again, just a lot of noise. And that's where we come in, where we really go deep in the industry. We've got the relationships, again, entirely free to work with us. But we would help our clients understand what are the industries that are, that are attracting people with similar backgrounds to them, that, based on what they're looking to do, based on their situation. Here's the types of industries we would recommend. And then we bring opportunities to them that are open in their market, looking to expand in their market. I try not to get too prescriptive because what I found, Don, is I'm not very good at guessing what people will end up going with. Instead, I want them to be exposed to everything. And so we'll look at a dozen or so opportunities that are open in their market for them to get in the game and start talking to a couple of these companies. And then we can compare and contrast. And they start to have those moments in their mind where it starts to come together and they prioritize the characteristics they like or don't like in a business. And we can always iterate off of that, but it kind of gets us in the game, gets us going. And, I serve as a sounding board and resource as we go through that process together.
I'm sure a lot of people come to you and say, hey, I'm interested in this or I'm interested in that. Like, what do you have available for me?
Yeah, most people end up in an industry that was never on their radar. So, some of the industries where we're seeing a lot of attention today, we see a lot of smart money flowing into things like home services and property services, everything from flooring to insulation to cabinets to restoration to dumpsters, kind of sometimes the non-sexy. I joke that non-sexy is the new sexy when it comes to business ownership. People want those non-trendy businesses that AI is not going to replace tomorrow, right? But understandable cash flowing businesses. I've done a couple of pool cleaning deals in the past month, recurring revenues attractive. Industries like health and wellness or categories like kids, pets. A big one has been seniors. That's a huge demographic that's a large addressable market, and there are different ways to kind of play the senior market.
There's many seniors right now. There's like 70 million baby boomers.
Yeah, a lot of them have the wealth, right, to spend as well. There are a lot of opportunities in B2B services, business to business, and that's everything from insurance adjusting to freight brokerage to cost consulting to industrial hoses to I've got one that I own that's asphalt paving and line striping, so parking lots. Again, I like those kind of dirty businesses,
Because a lot of people don't like to do it.
Yeah.
Remember that micro show, Dirty Jobs? And did you ever watch that?
Absolutely.
Dirty Jobs. I was like, oh my gosh, I would never want to do that job. But like that job, like the trash pickup guys, I don't want to pick up the trash and be in all that. But like we can't live without that service. We have rats and mice and stuff everywhere. Like you got to have those kind of services. So I kind of feel that way too. Like if you're willing to get into like a service people don't want, you're going to do better because people don't want to do stuff that they get dirty and mucky.
Yeah. And, franchises want to attract people that want to be business owners, not business doers, right? We're not.
Exactly.
Yeah, our clients, for the most part, still will get pretty involved and hands-on early on, but end of the day, they want to have people that can go out and attract talent and, incentivize them, retain them, coach them, go out and build referral partners in the community. And, it is interesting. Everyone's wired a little bit different. We have some clients that say, hey, we are passionate about health and wellness. We want a business that's all about longevity and recovery modalities. And others say, hey, I'm passionate about health and wellness, but I'm okay with buying a business that focuses in dumpsters, and I'm okay going to the cocktail party and being the dumpster king if I'm making $1 million a year. Right? So everyone's kind of got their different list of priorities of what's important to them. Quite a few fall into that latter category. They would say, hey, if I'm making a good income and I believe it's a sustainable business in my community, I'm okay doing just about anything.
I know. I was watching one of those. Do you ever watch that show, Undercover Boss?
Yes.
I love that show. Somebody, I can't remember off the top of my head, but they were like in the sanitation business or something. And it's like $1 billion business. And I was like, I would never even think to do that. When you look at the money, you're like, holy cow. But somebody's got to do those things. So I love shows like that because, you see things that they're common food, whatever, restaurants and common things. And when I see the other things, I'm like, oh, what a good idea. I would never thought of that to do that for myself, but that's a really necessary thing. 100%. But I would be one of those. I'd want to be in something that's like dirty and people don't want to do it because people don't want to do it. They need it more because people don't want to do it themselves.
Exactly.
I love that. I would love something like that. That sounds like so much fun. So if someone was like, so what's your favorite thing? What do you like the best about franchising? Or do you have like your favorite franchise or your favorite one that you're promoting?
Yeah, at any given time, I mean, it's kind of like picking your favorite kid, right? I mean, there's, there are quite a few I like at any given time. And let me say this, Dwan, franchising's like every other industry. I mean, we group franchising together. End of the day, it's hundreds of different business models, right, within the franchise world. And just like any industry, you're going to have really strong players, in this case, ones that provide great support, and you've got some that don't, right? And that's very important to mention, and that's where we come in again to try to help. There's one that I'm pretty excited about at the moment. I was out in Utah 2 weeks ago at a franchise event and got to spend some time with the founders of this business, but it's a truck that carries over 200 gallons of diesel and will go around and fuel up fleets of vehicles, and whether it be construction sites or companies that have large fleets of vehicles, reducing the downtime that those business owners would have, with all these vehicles. Great business, only franchise in that space, incredible financials around it, but got to spend some time with the founders, get to know them. I think this one's going to sell out in the U.S. pretty quickly. I mean, every now and then we'll have what we call a runner, and that's where like the U.S. sells out in like 12 months. So I've been trying to position our clients ahead of the other candidates in the pipeline for this opportunity, as well as other opportunities I think are going to go really fast. So that's just an example.
If you have a bunch of trucks and fleets and stuff, forever. You got to either have your own gas or right there, or you can't have them all over the country. You got to have someone doing that. So, yeah, I mean, they all serve a need for sure. Hey, time for a 2-second public announcement. How would you like to have a 45-minute strategy session with me personally, and we can sit down and discuss, and no strings attached, what your real estate investing career can look like in 26 as we stack gold bricks in 26? Go to Dwanbenttwyford, DWANDERFUL, Dwanbenttwyford.com. Take my real estate investing quiz. Schedule a 45-minute strategy session with me personally. And let's see what we can do to get you going on the right track. Now, back to the show. I have a friend that opened, I can't think of the name of it, but it's a dry cleaner in Boston. And mostly they do men's suits, and you go in while they do your suit while you wait, and you can get like a manicure and a pedicure and a fresh shave and some stuff like while you wait for your dry cleaning. Like, I shouldn't have a name, but he was on one of those magazines like Top 1,000 Entrepreneurs or something like that. And I was like, oh, there's Kevin. Because he's a son of my friend. So I still see him as like a little boy. He's on there, like top 1,000 entrepreneur with franchise ideas. And I was like, what a good idea. And I thought, if you're a guy, guys don't take the time, like go to the nail salon, drop off your suit, get it clean, get down, get a shave, look good, leave. It's like, good idea.
Yeah, it's all about multitasking. I like it.
Yeah. And I was like, I wouldn't think of that, because as a woman, I want to go sit at the nail salon. I want to have a glass of wine. I want to get all scrubbed, and I want all the things. That would never occur to me. But for the businessmen, it's a great thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. No.
But what's your most random franchise? It's just so out there. You're like, I can't even believe that this is an amazing business. Do you have just a super random one?
Oh, there's so many random ones. I had a client a few weeks ago, and the guy's net worth is right around 4 or 5 million. And does pretty well in Dallas, which actually probably doesn't go very far in Dallas. But corporate executive, and this is a good example of I can never guess what direction someone's going to go. He ended up going multi-territory, big purchase of a franchise that does dog poop scooping, and so again. Talk about things that people are willing to outsource that they don't want to take care of themselves. And he said, here in my area of Dallas, this is going to do incredibly well. And so he got so excited, got to know the people behind the brand, really liked them a lot. There's a lot of technology and, an app and everything else around it. But really just said, hey, this is a high margin business. I see the opportunity, and I'm okay being the guy that runs a business in the space. So there's a random one.
That is really random. So normally we have no dogs right now, but normally we have 4 dogs, and we usually have Pyrenees and Newfoundlands. But I don't know if you know, Newfoundlands are 150 pounds a dog, and Pyrenees are 125. So unfortunately, our last 2 died last year, and I was like, listen, we've been married 25 years. We've had 4 to 6 dogs the entire time, 150 pounds a dog. Let's just take a break off dogs. But we have 10 acres. Now, when I go to Florida, sometimes I'll take all my dogs, and I'm in a gated community down there.
Mhm.
So when you walk a dog, you have to scoop, but their poop's like this big. So I have one of those like a shovel thing that goes together and it's like a shovel scooper. And even when I do it, I'm just gagging. I'm like, but I can't not do it because people will come and put a note on my door like, hey, your dog. I know it's your dog because it looks like a human poop there. So I have to scoop, and it's like, I hate doing it because it gags me. And I got a big old shovel thing. It's huge and just comes together and put it in the bag. When you got 4 dogs like that, I mean, and at the dog park too, you have to scoop at the dog park. I'm like, oh my God, let's just leave the dogs at home because 10 acres is fine. They don't poop in the courtyard, but I can't stand doing that. So I would pay for a service like that all day.
We live in a house sourcing economy. And, and let me say this too. Not every company out there is in these non-sexy industries. I mean, you've got some really cool ones in the health and wellness space and the beauty space, different salon concepts. A lot of real estate folks are getting into ones where, it's kind of like, the salon rentals, right? It's a real estate game for them where they're very hands off and they've got, essentially rent out these, salon seats.
Yeah, I go to a salon like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So there are a lot of different models.
I like those because you rent out your space and you have your girl. And if she moves, you can go with her or whatever. So I actually have a salon I go to like that, not just like a hair salon where everyone's just in there where they rent their own space.
Yeah.
And I like that as a person that's like desperately need. I'm getting my roots done tomorrow. My guy's like, oh my God, my roots! I got to do a podcast with these big great roots. But I like that because if she leaves, I can just go with her and not feel like I'm like betraying the salon.
Yeah, absolutely. No. In the businesses, whether it be in like Pilates, whether it be, again, a lot in the health and wellness space, we see a lot of interest. Most people come to us and say, hey, we want a business that requires very few employees, if any, and has a huge return on investment. I'm like, all right, so few employees, high ROI. And oftentimes you can find these in these remote businesses or like consulting, where you're reducing costs for small and medium-sized companies or where you become like the freight and shipping expert, outsourced for companies. And we've had some get into like insurance adjusting recently. There's just so many models out there.
But what's your sexiest one? And I know you can't like pick favorites, but because it's like picking your favorite child. Although we all know we have a favorite.
Well, I was down in Miami in December.
What's the sexy? Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. What's the sexy like health and beauty? But tell me about Miami first.
Well, I will name drop here, unashamed to name drop. I was in Miami at Gary Brecka's house in December when he signed off on the Ultimate Longevity Center. And that is a business that's going to provide all things health and wellness around, recovery modalities, whether it be sauna, cold plunge, red light, all of that piece, but then combined with peptide injections and hormone replacements and all under one roof. So kind of a one-stop shop. Partner with Sequel Brands, Anthony Geisler, and with a Tony Robbins group, like the Tony Robbins group. Tony was not there at the dinner, but anyway, that's one that's on fire, selling out across most markets here in the U.S. pretty quickly. So that's one that I would call a sexy fashion-forward franchise.
It is. So I'm actually a Gary Brecka fan. I did the thing where you spend like $700 and they do all your blood work and they tell you all the things. And so I did that, and I take their supplements and do their stuff like that because, the autoimmune, I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis like 7 years ago and fibromyalgia this year. And so I'm going to start doing those IVs and those different things like that because there's got to be a way, if a switch turned on to make like rheumatoid arthritis active, there's got to be a switch that'll turn it off. I think the only way it's through like the supplements and the peptides and all the things that you were talking about. So I actually am a Gary Brecka girl.
Yeah. Oh, and he's the real deal. I'll give a shout out to him. I was very impressed the time I got to spend with him. He gave us a tour of his home and we were with him for a couple hours and just all the time in the world, even though he just landed coming back from Dubai, sucked away. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear you say
very
real deal because I spent a lot of money there and I'm like, you never really know. And so I'm really happy to hear you actually say that. Because I started taking some of the things and I do feel better. But I'm going to like try to dig deeper and see if I can't like get rid of these things. This just have to be a way. Nothing would just be forever. That my marriage to my house. That's for my husband, my marriage to my husband. That's forever. So, all right. So let me ask you. So I want you to give me like 3 actionable tips. Like if someone's listening to the podcast today, like I'm going to get a hold of Jon and they say, tell me the first 3 things I need to do to work with you. What would you say they would have to do? Like first 3 things.
Yeah, low-hanging fruit would be to come out to our website, share your email address. My assistant will then reach out with downloadable links so you can download our book, Non-Food Franchising, 90 pages. I mean, we've sold thousands of copies of this and probably given out 10 times more than that. It's been a great resource for people to understand franchising, very readable, very understandable. So I would say that's the easiest first step. Okay. Secondly, take what you've learned in the book and start thinking about, what does business ownership look like for you? Are there industries that could be of interest? If you're looking to partner and you want to keep your day job, is there an operator that could potentially step in for you within your network? You got to start having, how would you fund the business? Again, in the book, I get into that. So I'd say start thinking through those things. And then the third thing would be, let's set up a call. Again, you can do that. You come out to the website, share your email. My assistant will send a link to my calendar. Again, it's entirely free to work with us. So, we'd love to get on a call, get to know you and, give you some thoughts and kind of take you through a very refined process where we expose you to the top opportunities in your market and help you identify what could be a good fit. So those would be the things that I would recommend.
It's just simple. They just come, they start talking, guide them down the path. That's what I do with real estate investors. I train. I've been training people for we're in investing 35 years. I've been training for 30. And I'm always just like, well, what are you interested in? You want to wholesale? Do you want to fix and flip? Do you want to own buildings? Do you want storage? Do you want to build? What are you interested in? And then I'll just guide you down the path that you need. But when they're like, I don't know, just anything, it's too big. I can't teach you just anything. What are you interested in? So then I do the same thing. You think about what you want. Because some people are like, hey, I want to fix and flip. I want to own rentals. I want to own Airbnbs. It's you have any experience? What is it? Are you going to do it yourself? Are you going to hire? I think I probably asked some of the same type of questions. It's surprising how many people don't have any clue, which is fine because you're there to help them pick something that's going to suit them. But I'm sure when they pick something, say they want to do something in health and wellness, I'm sure you go through and talk to them about the pros, the cons, what they need to be prepared for to really make this happen. You give them a good solid talk like that.
Yeah, we really start at 30,000 feet and start getting more granular, understanding kind of the setup, how many hours can they put in, the investment level, why they're looking to do this, kind of what their community may need. We stay away from home cleaning and mosquitoes and businesses that already have a lot of large companies in them where there's very little differentiation. Instead, it's all about the niches. And again, these are things that people don't know they're looking for until it's in front of them. They look at their spouse and say, that makes a lot of sense. Our community can use that. I think I would enjoy that on a day-to-day basis. So the whole discovery process is set to really start at the top and they kind of start narrowing it down. And then as they go through the process, they're going to talk to other franchisees in those brands to hear about their experience and ask them questions. And really, they get all these different pieces of data. They get the information from the franchise disclosure document that every franchise system has. Obviously, I'm sharing my feedback, and I've seen so many case studies, and I work with people with similar backgrounds. So they're getting all these data points that can start to formulate puzzle pieces to put together that puzzle of what can be the right fit for them and how to structure it. And we talk about everything about entity formation to funding options to if you want to have the franchise attorney review the agreement, we've got partners that can support you in that front too. So really a one-stop shop.
So do you ever tell anyone listen, based on everything you've said, you are absolutely not a good fit for a franchise? Do you?
I try to put it in not so blunt terms.
Not so blunt, but I do. Sometimes I come to listen, this is absolutely not going to work for you.
There are certain people, maybe financially, they're not in a spot where it makes sense for them to buying a business would be overextending. There are others that just lack humility, and you have to have humility in franchising to go follow the established playbook. The best performers are usually those that follow closest to the system. I've seen it time and time again as a franchisee, as a franchisor. Dwan, I just thought of something that I thought would be worth mentioning. A lot of our clients invest in real estate as well. I personally invest in real estate syndications, funds, directly Airbnbs. I used to do long-term rentals, don't have any of those at the moment. a lot of our clients do too. I think there's so much synergy between the two,
Yes.
not only from an industry actual standpoint, but from a mindset standpoint. I think, other alternative investments that carry tax benefits, right? The government incentivizes real estate investors and businesses, right? And so we do see a lot of crossover. I've had 2 calls today with clients of mine, one that owns 20 rental homes, the other that owns over 100 rental units
Nice.
in Arkansas and Pennsylvania. But that's very common to have that overlap.
Yeah, we invest in a town called Clinton, Iowa. That's where my husband's from. And we are actually basically kind of remodeling an entire little town. The downtown is 3 blocks this way and 3 blocks this way. It's right on the river. And it's an opportunity zone. So, if you own it for 10 years, you don't have to pay taxes. And they've got all these grants and all this money and all this stuff. And so I'm at this point, I wouldn't buy anything that wasn't in an opportunity zone because they just give you so much to buy it.
Yeah.
So that's good. Yeah. Now, real estate, real estate's my thing. So I love that you have that too. It's good. I love everything that you guys do. It's super fun.
No, I think it's an all of the above approach. And I think there's a lot of ways to get to where you want to be. And the question is what's the safest way, what gets you there the fastest, and what's going to be the most fun as well.
That's right. So let me ask you a couple personal questions. What is your favorite band of all time?
Favorite band of all time? Journey takes me back to college.
Oh, Journey is good. Stephen Perry's voice is it's something. Yeah, I don't think anyone's ever said Journey before. That's really great. I love them too. What's your favorite food?
Favorite food? It's the smoothies. I make some great smoothies.
Smoothies? Okay, you are the first person that answered that ever in my whole 8 years.
Love it.
That's good. I would ask you for your entire smoothie recipe, but I feel like we'd be on here for too long and it would run over. But yes, I like smoothies. My husband makes really good green smoothies. Oh my God. They're so delicious. I've done the recipe 4 or 5 times and made people send me a recipe again. It's dude, just watch that video. I walked through every step. Yeah, I don't need to finish you. Watch the video. They're good though. I'm glad that you make those are good and are healthy for your body too.
Definitely. No, gives you the energy.
A smoothie juice. And then if you could just recommend one book, any field, anything from when you were a child till now, do you have a book that you're this is a great book?
Besides my book.
Besides yours.
Besides my book, besides the Bible, both top of the list there. I would say The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. It's not rocket science, but it was a really helpful reminder. I pick it up every so often that it's all about taking those small incremental steps, no matter what field, right? I think about everything through 5 domains: faith, family, fitness, finances, and franchising, my 5 Fs.
Yep.
It's how I structure my day. It's how I structure my year when I think about goals. But I love the compound effect because it's those little steps you take in any one of those domains that over time will have that compound effect if you keep moving. So that's the one I would point to.
I love that. I could not agree with you more. I do what I call the 5 pillars of life, and it's spiritual, it's your family, it's your mental health, your physical health, and your financial health. Yeah. And those make you who you are, and you can't give too much time to one or the other, neglect the other. And balance is a hard thing to have, especially when you own a business, because you want to work and be a part of it, but you got other things in your life too. So I love that. Okay, 2 more questions. What is your next big goal? And how can we in the Dwanbenttwyford world, how can we help you reach your next goal? What is it and how can we help you?
Thank you for the offer. Feel very blessed that good progress has been made in all 5 domains. Next big goal would be I've got some passive income goals and I'm getting pretty close to them, but really tying the knot around, I'm a part of different masterminds on the financial side and just thinking through the investment profiles and allocations. That's something that I'm kind of waist deep in right now. So I look forward to eventually having this all put in place and having it behind me where it's just an automatic system. I'm pretty close, but not there just yet.
Okay. How can we help you?
Yeah, I think any ideas out there, that being said, I've got a lot of ideas. I've got a lot of content. So anyone that has been there and done that, and how they allocate across private credit, real estate funds. Certainly, I've got my private equity and franchising, and then public markets would be the biggest pillars. But then there are also so many little niches.
Right, guys, you're hearing this, so you need to get a hold of Jon. I feel like anyone that works with you would be making a good move. You're just like such a great person. I like the fact you mentioned the Bible. I was like, I got a little tattoo, just like, and I know tattoos are probably not even good for the Bible, but it says faith. If I'm gonna put that right there, so I'm talking, it's be like, put a little God out there.
I love it. I love it.
Okay, final question. I want you to give us a word of wisdom, but only one word.
Momentum.
Okay, now don't tell me yet. So what we do is my wonderful family every week. So momentum is going to be our word of the week. So when your podcast comes out, the word of the week is momentum. And I always tell people, take a little sticky, write it on there, put it like where you're brushing your teeth, and as you're doing that, just say momentum, 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 like embed that word. But we want to know what it means to you.
Yeah, it's the idea that activity breeds activity, and it's getting off the couch, it's taking steps. You may not know what the right direction is, but instead of sitting on the couch thinking about it, start moving towards option A or option B. And that's when very oftentimes life will bring option C to you, and doors start to open. So it's all about taking steps, having the compound effect, building the momentum, and that's when doors open and good things happen.
I love that. See, that's momentum. So activity breeds activity. So that's really a great thing, because different words mean different things to everybody. So someone may hear that word and think, oh, momentum is working out 5 days in a row. But I like to always hear what you think that word means. That's a good word. Okay, momentum, it's your word of the week. So I want to thank you so much for being on the show today. You're just such a delightful person. I love every single thing that you do.
Well, you're very kind. No, appreciate you having me on. Glad it worked out. And certainly if I can be a resource going forward, would love to help any of your listeners explore business ownership. And again, starts by sharing a free copy of our book. So I look forward to connecting and help.
I want to get a free copy of your book too. So I'm going to go get on your website and have them send me a free copy. Maybe you could autograph mine.
Absolutely. Shoot me your address and we'll drop one in the mail. No doubt.
I love it. I love it. I love it. All right, everyone. So if you loved the show today, which I know you did, I want you to subscribe, leave us a 5-star review, write a comment, follow Jon, follow me, just follow us, because we can't grow without your help. So we appreciate your time. We appreciate your effort. I know time is our most valuable asset, because when we're out of time, we're out of time. So I appreciate you spending time with us today. And just remember, we'll be back next week, same bat time, same bat channel. And the truth is in the red letter. All right, everybody. See you next week. Ciao. Hey, folks. Thanks for tuning in to the most wonderful real estate podcast ever. Don't forget to go to Dwanbenttwyford.com, take the quiz, schedule a strategy session, watch all the podcasts, and be a part of this year. This is a really important year. We're stacking bricks in 26, and I want to help you stack as many gold bricks as you possibly can. That's only going to happen if you subscribe, leave 5-star reviews, stay tuned, share, and just let everybody know about the wonderful world of Dwanderful. And I'll see you next week.